Good morning. I'm Holly Magnuson, and this is Ask the Security Guy with Shawn Kohrman. Good morning,
Mhm.
Shawn.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing all right. It's a beautiful day out after a nice rain yesterday,
Yes, it was.
and my poor dog was kind of freaking out yesterday afternoon with the thunder.
Okay. Well, and maybe it was the sound of the holiday season or savings rolling in.
Holiday savings, yes. So that leads us into what we're talking about today very nicely, Shawn. Thank you. Today we're going to talk about online shopping or talk about shopping in general because we do have the Christmas season coming up and lots of things to be bought. So, Shawn, um, what do you want to talk to us about first?
Well, so it is the season to be jolly and buy lots of useless stuff and all that fun stuff. If you're like me and you hate shopping in department stores, online shopping is the key to everything. However, not all online shops are created equal, so we'll talk about that a little bit today. Also wanted to talk to a little bit about Android Pay and Apple Pay or iPay, and how those applications work and are they safe to use, and just get into a little bit of just general best practices for making sure that your money and your identity stay safe in the holiday season.
Sounds good. And just as a reminder, as we're talking, you're always welcome to submit questions. If you are viewing us from the events page, you can slide your mouse over to the left, and there's a little button that says QA, and it gives a panel on the right-hand side of your screen where you can ask a question. If you're watching through the YouTube feed and you want to ask a question, you'll notice in the lower left-hand corner of the YouTube screen, there will be the join the conversation, and you can click on that, and it'll take you to the event page. So please, we love to have your questions, things that and it doesn't even necessarily have to be related to shopping. But if you have questions about shopping and safety there, we want to hear about those. So,
Mhm.
Shawn, take off.
So one of the things to think about as we come into the holiday season, if you're shopping online, you want to make sure that your computer is up to date on its patches, that your antivirus is not an expired subscription. A lot of new computers that people get come with a 1 year or a 90-day trial subscription that will expire and will be usually very annoying about notifying you. But a lot of people forget to actually renew it. So you want to make sure that your antivirus is up to date and that you've scanned your computer. One of the reasons for that is if you have malware on your computer, some types of malware has what's called a keylogger. And as you enter your credit card number into a site, that credit card information is also being transmitted off to a bad guy somewhere else in the world who would love to use your card. So just, make sure that your computer's up to date. Don't use anybody else's computer to do online shopping. If you don't control it, if you don't use it. Definitely don't use a public computer, or even I wouldn't recommend using public Wi-Fi um, for that kind of thing either. If you're going to do your shopping, do it at home.
Yeah, I had a thought there, and as far as using public computers and stuff, just because we never know what's on those machines. And Shawn, how is the easiest way for someone to make sure that they have the current Windows update or Apple's updates?
Well, with the Apple updates, it's a little around the world to the left. But you can go into system preferences and the updates icon is in there. For Windows updates, it's in Control Panel, and you can just go and look for do a search in the control bar for updates, and it'll bring you up an option to check now. And then for your antivirus, it all depends on which antivirus package you're using, but it will usually show up in the bottom right in the little system tray there. So if you're using Symantec or AVG or ESET or any one of the popular ones out there, just go down there and make sure that you click on it and it says you're up to date and all is well.
Thanks, Shawn.
So, and there's another thing to think about too when we talk about online shopping or for that matter, going into a store and shopping. With the Home Depot breach, the Target breach, and all the other stores that were breached over the last 2 years, and what we saw was these major retailers lost a tremendous amount of data. You know, so personal data, credit data, all kinds of stuff. When you shop, one of the safest practices you can do is to use a low limit credit card for your purchases and then just pay it off when you're done. For a lot of people, they tend to use if they're Bank of America or Wells Fargo, they have a debit card that goes directly against their checking account. So if that gets out and you have a fraudulent charge, that ties up your checking account. And for those of us that, don't keep, several months worth of pay in their checking account on any given time, that can have a pretty disastrous impact on the 7 to 10 days it may take the bank to clear up that fraudulent charge. Whereas with a credit card, if the same thing happens, it's usually a non-issue and their turnaround time is pretty quick. And then if you use a low limit card, it further reduces the impact that a fraudster can have on your credit.
One of the things that I just recently got, because of Google Wallet, and they actually have a credit card that you can get where you can use it almost like a debit card or a credit card against the money that you have on your Google Wallet account. How do you feel about that? I've thought about, transferring X amount of dollars over onto it, so if something happens to it, there's a limited impact.
Right. And it's another great way to go because it's a limited impact. It's not tied directly to your bank account. And therefore, if something happens, you're covered. So, and that also leads to a conversation about Android Pay and iPay. So, I've been getting a lot of questions about, well, how secure are these if I take my phone and link up, put my credit card in there and then do a tap to pay at a retailer, say Walgreens or whatever. So the way both services are set up is what they store on your phone is not actually your credit card. It's a cryptographic representation of it. Basically, it's a virtual credit card. And what that is a encrypted blob, so to speak, that syncs up with Google or Apple, depending on the service you're using. So when you tap to pay with your phone at one of these retailers, what happens is the transaction information goes to Apple or Google, depending on which one you're using. Google or Apple then brokers the transaction with the actual card. So they manage the transaction with the bank, whichever bank it is that you're using. Information comes back, successful or declined, and that's transmitted back to your phone and the retailer's terminal. So what's nice about that is no data is ever stored on your phone. Your phone will typically require another level of verification to unlock it to use the service, either a thumbprint or a pattern or a PIN code or something. Even if the device is unlocked, they're going to ask for you to unlock it again to make the transaction. What that addresses is our original concern with NFC, near field communications, that essentially that tap to pay, was the idea where if somebody brushed against you in a store with a certain type of phone with specific software on it, they they could get your payment information through that kind of bump. Because now the newer versions of the software require that second level of authentication, that's not as much of a concern anymore. The other nice thing is because the actual card data is not stored on your phone, if your phone's lost or stolen, there's that level of certainty that that card data isn't there. Now, you always want to make sure that you have your phone locked with a PIN code or a pattern code or something. Because if it does get lost, you have no idea how or what they're going to do with that device. Or, one of the things we always talk about is what's the single most important account that most people have?
The email address. The email account, personal
Right.
email account.
Your personal email account. And a lot of people have that linked on their phone. So if your phone's unlocked and you have that personal email account there, there's a lot somebody can get into right from there by using that personal email account to do password resets at your bank, at your stores, or wherever else you may have card data stored.
So I guess my question would be, will you, Shawn Kohrman, use Android Pay or iPay?
I actually set up Android Pay for this holiday season with a low limit credit card that I have. Yes, I'm going to give it a try. I've
So
done
there you
all the yeah, I've done all the research on it. I'm going to give it a spin.
there you go. I do also I excuse me, I can't talk this morning. Just recently upgraded my phone, and one of the things, Samsung now has Samsung Pay, and I haven't really researched it yet, but my general gut feeling is I won't go with Samsung Pay just because I've other experiences I've had with their products and services. So,
Yeah, and for me that would be a gut check too. I have more trust for Apple and Google than I would for someone like Samsung.
yeah, I just can't, I haven't set up either Android Pay either. I've got my Google Wallet and the Google Wallet card that's worked out really nice.
Yeah,
But yeah, I just, a $50 credit, if I set up Samsung Pay, just isn't enough incentive for me to go there.
yeah, that'd be a tough sell for me too. So, but a lot of this comes back to just basic practices that we should be doing every day, not just in the holiday season. You know, use your credit card for purchases because the impact there is minimal. Check your credit card statements frequently, at least every week. Don't wait till the end of the month. And with online banking, it's pretty easy to do that now.
Hmm.
Monitor your credit. Credit Karma, for instance, great service, free. Keep an eye on your credit, and we'll also alert you with new things that come in. The reason we talk about this so much, especially this time of year, is because this is also the time of year when we see the most fraud. So be safe, know the devices you're operating on, and make sure that you're the one that actually has control of them.
Yeah. Um, what about the new technology that has come out recently on our credit cards and debit cards with the security chip? Can you talk about that a little bit? And does that really give us another level of protection?
So yeah, we will talk about that a little bit. The smart chip that you see on your credit card now um, is basically it's a chip and pin type of processing. Now it is not bulletproof, but it's been around for over a decade. I was working for a company in the 90s that was selling these cards and making these cards for various countries in Europe. Europe has been using those types of cards for a long time, and the US is just now getting around to it. Some interesting points about it: the mag stripe on the back of your credit card is very easy to read. It's also very easy to duplicate, and you can buy credit card readers and writers on Amazon for about 20 bucks. So it's not like you even have to go to a special place to get this stuff. And card stock's cheap too. So duplicating these cards isn't that difficult. And some of the older type of operations, what they would do is they would get a hold of stolen credit cards from pickpocketing or any other type of mechanism, go to some guy in the back of a van with a card duplicator set up, and they'd make a bunch of cards, and then they'd go shopping right there on the spot before anybody knew what was going on. Pardon me. With chip and pin, it's almost impossible to duplicate what's on that chip because it's encrypted. However, while the US made good strides in adopting the chip, pardon me, we still have the issue with the mag stripe still on the card because we're running dual. So they're not that secure. And we're still doing signature based instead of pin based, meaning even though you would give the card to the merchant, they insert it in their reader, it's reading out data off the chip. Great. The second level of verification now is still a signature because the credit card companies in the US didn't want to make the culture shift from signature based to having to enter a PIN to complete the transaction. So even though the chip technology has the potential to greatly enhance our security around credit card transactions, the physical ones, we've done what we've done with it has essentially taken most of the security away from it.
Well, that's been my experience in because my bank card, right before I went to my trip to Oklahoma last month, I got my new bank card and everything. And the retail outlet that I used a couple of times, comes up with, the whole idea of, oh, do you want cash back? And I would say no. And it would come back and say transaction canceled.
Right.
And I had to use the mag strip. And when it has worked properly, it to me it's no more secure than it was. It's to me it's less secure because I'm just sticking the card in the machine. I'm not having to sign anything. I'm not having to enter a PIN number. It's just So if you
Right.
steal my card, you're still going to get about $12 worth of merchandise out of my account.
But and it's again, and this is often the case when we talk about our computers and the security there. Well, they're as secure as our use of them. If you have a computer system sitting on your desk, Windows or Mac or pick your platform, all have great security controls that we tend to turn off in the name of convenience, or we use weak passwords, or we don't keep our Windows updates or our Apple updates up to date. We let our antivirus expire. So in essence, we become the weakest link in the security chain. So security has a lot to do about how we use the tools that are available. Because at the end of the day, it's not about is it possible or impossible to be hacked. Anything can be hacked. What you want to be is more difficult than the next guy. You want to be annoying enough that the attacker, the criminal, is going to find lower hanging fruit, somebody easier to compromise. And by using a good password, by taking the basic steps, keeping your system up to date, making sure you have a good, PIN code on your phone or a passcode or something, even a fingerprint swipe is good. Using a password manager so you can keep all these things straight, or more accurately, so you don't have to. But again, using good passphrases to protect things. Don't use the same password everywhere. Use something unique and use your password manager to do that work for you. So, just the
Yeah, I love
basics.
yeah, I love having a password manager. It has just made things so much easier. And, then I only need to remember a couple of really strong passwords to get me into everything I need.
Right.
So let's get back to online shopping and talking about when how can I tell whether a site is reputable? Or what things do I need to look at when I go to a website and I'm going to start shopping?
Well, one of the easiest things to look for is use sites that are well known. Amazon, Target, Home Depot, all of the major retailers not only have recognizable websites, a lot of them also have apps for your phone or your tablet. So, for instance, if you want to do some shopping on Amazon and you want to be certain about the security of the connection to the site, and you're shopping from your phone or tablet, use the store app. Another way, if you're in a browser, look at in the browser URL, the address bar. On the left, you'll see a lock. If the lock is there, it's a good secure connection. If not, you really need to be looking at why it's not. Because unless that lock is there, you never want to enter in any information, especially not payment information.
Exactly. Once in a while, I've seen sites where it's got the lock and it's got the HTTPS, but there's a line through it. What
Uh-huh.
is that trying to tell me?
What that's telling you is their security certificate, the piece of information that makes that connection secure, is either expired or broken. So if you see that line through it, or it's a self-created certificate, which if you're seeing that on a retailer site that's asking for payment information, run far and fast.
So yeah, so basically we want to see that lock, that HTTPS.
Yep.
More and more, we're seeing like a green banner that says what, VeriSign, I believe.
Uh-huh. So that's an extended verification, and it's just a higher level of trust. Most banks now have that EV cert, and it's very difficult to get. It requires an extensive amount of verification for the institution to get that. But you have a higher degree of certainty that who you're dealing with is who they say they are.
Very good. So far, no questions yet. If you have a question about online shopping or things you may have heard about different security things, it's been pretty quiet. It's a little unnerving how quiet the security world's been lately. Have you heard anything, Shawn, that
No, it has been an oddly quiet month. Um, we haven't, we've seen some little stuff here and there, but it's been eerily quiet. So one can hope that the criminals are taking some time off and leaving us alone.
sadly they're probably taking time to come up with a better plan to, break something big? Not that I'm cynical or anything.
Well, yeah, normally when you see calms in the storm like that, it's they're preparing for something new.
So again, with no questions. If you do have one, you can go ahead and post that up. And even after the show, if you think of something, you have questions about, shopping or other security topics that you would like to see us talk about, feel free to either email me, Holly Magnuson, or the iso@apu.edu account.
Hmm.
Um, We've got a security awareness class. I should promote that next Tuesday at 2 p.m. I believe it is. We have our cybersecurity training, which if you've not attended that, I think it's a really good opportunity, good time. Shawn and I tend to be very entertaining. But it's about an hour
We
and
try.
15. Yeah, we try. It's about an hour and 15 minutes. We'll be meeting on West Campus, so parking is not quite as bad to get to on a Tuesday afternoon. But that will be happening in Duke. I believe it's Duke 513. But if you'd like to come to that class, you can check out the training schedule or just shoot me over an email, and we'll get you, more information on that. So.
So do we have any more questions or any questions?
No questions. Everybody seems to, be thinking about their Christmas list. Any great plans for Christmas this year, Shawn?
No, nothing spectacular this year.
Oh, me either. It's going to be. So with that, just a reminder, next Wednesday afternoon, we'll be hanging out with IMT at 2 p.m. Going to be talking with Rob Davis about looking at some Google stuff and things that are going on with Google. Then on November 20th at 2 p.m. will be Final Friday wrap up. It is the final Friday, working Friday of November. I'm getting ready for the holidays. And then Shawn will be back a month from today, 4 weeks from today, on December 2nd at 11 a.m. for Ask the Security Guy. And, who knows what will happen in the month of November that will give us, things to talk about.
You
So,
never can tell.
never can tell. Any other final thoughts, Shawn?
No, I think that about covers it. Just be safe and be thoughtful as you get into the holiday shopping season. And again, just be very careful about what information you provide.
Yeah. I have started getting very diligent about getting my receipts. And I've actually, the last 3 months now, I put those receipts in an envelope by month so that, as I look through my credit card statement or my bank statement, if there's anything questionable, I can go back and look for receipts, because sometimes I buy things and I don't remember that I bought them. And so, trying to be diligent.
Yep. Yep. And it's also good to have that for backup if you ever have a case where you have to dispute something.
Yeah, because I could, hopefully my goal is I can show them, hey, this is all the receipts. I didn't buy this or whatever.
Right.
So
Yep. I had an instance just about a month ago where my credit card company actually called me and they said, "Hey, did you buy something in Ohio?" No. No, apparently my card did.
nice. Yeah, I think it was last year ago in February. My mom bought flowers and wine on her Discover card, and
Ah.
Discover called her and said, "Yeah, we're thinking this is not yours." And they were very good, to her. They got her a new card sent out right away.
Yep.
But
Yep. So we're seeing improvements in the turnaround time. But again, I've only ever gotten those calls from my credit cards, never from my bank.
yeah, I've never gotten anything from the bank. Um, I did have my credit union did contact me after the Target breach, just kind of if you used your Target card, or if you used your card in Target during this time frame, be aware type thing.
Right.
But
Right.
so,
All
well,
righty.
with that, we'll say goodbye. Again, you guys know how to get a hold of us. ISO@apu.edu is a great way if you've got questions, and we will see you next month. Bye
All right.
bye.
Sounds good.